Elite Victra. New riser design, new cam, cool new tuning feature. One shot bullet hole from me. You gotta check this bow out. Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery in our video studio today. Brand new bow from the folks at Elite. This is the Elite Victra. So, new bow from Elite, designed primarily for target archers, but you know, you can use these bows for anything. But at 37.5 inches axle to axle with a 7-inch brace height, we're talking mainly to the target archery world here. So we got some new features on this bow that we'll tell you about. I'll save the best one for last, but spec-wise, you know, as I mentioned, 37.5, 7-inch brace height. It's going to come with what they call the smooth mods, and your speed rating is going to be up to 328 feet per second with the smooth mods. That's a 30-inch draw. We'll do a speed test, so we'll show you what our speeds are. But you're going to have bows available in peak draw weights of 40, 50, 60, 65, and 70 pounds. The cams here, so these are brand new cams. This is what we're going to call the SPX2 cam. Latest iteration of this cam from the folks at Elite, and it does include the VX mod. What that allows you to do, the VX mod, two things. We're going to go, you're going to be able to get 1/4-inch draw length adjustments. This bow in particular, we're going to go from 25.5 to 31 inches. On a rotating mod, you'll be able to adjust it in 1/4-inch adjustments. Of course, that just allows you to really dial in your draw length specifically. And then, as usual, we're going to have our adjustable let-off here. You can see that slot. You're going to get basically from about 70 to 90%, you'll be able to adjust the let-off. So if you like super aggressive, you can go all the way up to that, all the way down to 70%. If you like to, you know, hold minimal weight at the back end, go up to 90. So you can adjust that. But let's take a look at this bow because it has some new looks for Elite. And the first thing you're going to notice, I tipped it up this way because this riser has much less reflex than we've seen, especially from the Elite target bows. It is more vertical. The other thing we're going to see in here are all these struts. Usually we see a lot more voids and open space in Elite risers. Well, now they've added all these struts in there. What should that do? Should make the riser much stiffer, something that target archers that they're gonna appreciate. So just cool to see Elite tweaking their risers there. We do have, as you can see, I have the new Elite bipod on here. That is because it does include these pick mounts here, top and bottom. That's for the Elite rack system, rail accessory connection. It's a Picatinny rail is what it is. And they have, of course, they have a bow pod that you could shoot the bow with the bow pod on because it's not touching the limb. And there's a sling that you can connect top and bottom to carry the bow around. Those are the current accessories that Elite has for it. We are gonna have, we're going to have the cutouts here for IMS, integrated mounting system for your rest. So if you've got one of those integrate IMS rests, you can mount it on here. Of course, you got your standard 2 holes, burger holes for standard mounting of a rest. Something else standard to Elite bows of the last several years is we are going to have our set technology, simplified exact tuning. So that is Elite's system for when you're tuning your bow. This is a 4-track cam. So I've got tracks, separate tracks for the string. You know, I've got my 2 cables here on either side and my cable. Each one of those is in its own tracks. That's for stability, the 4-track cam system. That's what it's known for. So we're not playing with anything here in the tuning process. The way Elite does it is with set. simplified exact tuning. And what you're going to do actually is you're pivoting the pocket one way or the other, which affects your cam position. And you're adjusting the cam lean, but you're doing it from the pocket. And it's super simple. You're going to have a locking screw back here, and then this is your adjustment screw. And what I've been saying for years that I love about Elite is they got that little sticker right there that says, when you're shooting through paper, if it's tail left, you turn one way, tail right, you turn it the other. Can't make it any simpler. Don't need a bow press, so super simple in that adjustment. Now, to go with that, we're talking about the newest, coolest feature, I think, of the Elite Victra right here. This is what Elite calls their micro splitter. And now what this does is it allows you to adjust your cam timing without a bow press. So what you're gonna see how this works is right here, this is a locking screw. So I'm gonna loosen that, and then I'm gonna come up top here with an Allen key, and I'm gonna turn this bolt one way or the other. Now right here you can see these lines. So what I'm doing essentially is I'm taking this post up or down. So what's that doing? So you can imagine that's affecting my cam timing. And you're gonna get, what I'll tell you is you're gonna get about a 1/4 inch of movement up or a 1/4 inch of movement down. So if you have to make big adjustments to your cam timing, like if it's way off, you are gonna have to press it and put twists into the cables. This is for fine tuning it. When you're getting down, you're pretty sure everything should be set right. Put it on a draw board, just a little bit off. You're gonna use the micro splitters. And you know how that's gonna work. Okay, let's say my bottom cam is hitting before my top cam. That's my timing issue. So as we know, you always put twists into the cable on the cam that's hitting first. So in that situation, my bottom cam is hitting first. So this is going to be the connection for my bottom cam. And so you can imagine if I shorten this, what I'm doing, if I'm pulling this in, that's the effect of adding twists to the cable because it's going to shorten that cable. So that would be the same as putting twists into this cable down here. Same thing, you know, I almost never actually lengthen. I never take twists out. I will only put them in unless, you know, I'm trying to get my axle to axle correct. But if I like adjust one too much, I'm going to the next one and putting twists in. I don't like to take twists out. But, so let's say I went too much, then I can come to the micro splitter on the bottom here and I can adjust that way. I can tighten this one up. Now, the reason that this is extra cool is that, you know, when you're twisting cables, you either have a half twist or a full twist. That's it. You have the loop ends that are on the cam. You have to have the loop ends in the right position. With this system, there is no twist. It's infinite adjustment. So let's say you only needed a 1/4 twist to fix your problem. There's no such thing as a 1/4 twist when you're dealing with loop ends. But with this, you can imitate that 1/4 twist because you're just pulling this in or letting it out, you know, if you want to do that. Pulling it in or letting it out, and it's, you know, within that 1/4 inch adjustment, it's infinite. So real cool. Again, you don't need a bow press to make that adjustment. So something else just to make tuning these bows simpler. We're gonna set this bow up and build it, and hopefully I have to use that. I did play with it some anyway, but I'm hoping we have to do that to get our timing right, and I'll show you exactly how it works. But going to the rest of the bow, you know, this is a big bow, 37.5 inches, and I weighed it. The published weight is 4.7 pounds. That's gonna be without the Delta VRT and without our limb dampeners. You take those off, 4.7 pounds. I weighed it with everything attached. It's right at 5 pounds. So for a 37.5 inch bow, that's pretty good. That's not heavy. I would skew that more towards being light than heavy. Other features we got here, we do have a Picatinny rail on the front for your sight mount. If you have a pick mount sight, people are switching to those a lot these days. Folks like them. And then you always have your standard mounting holes on the side as well. For stabilizers, you're going to have out front your standard one right under the grip. You are going to have a low one. It does come with the Delta VRT. This is a vibration dampener, essentially. So you could put your stabilizer there, move the Delta VRT up here. You can not use the Delta VRT, whatever you want. Or you could move it to the back. You've got two mounting options there for your rear stabilizers, your side rods. Again, these are adjustments that we mainly see target archers wanting. They want to be able to move that weight around to where they want it. And of course, we've got our standard Elite grip. This is a grip that they developed over years working with target archers. It's been pretty standard for the last couple years. Super nice, wider at the bottom, tapers down at the top, but nice and flat, just to allow you to get a very repeatable grip. That's what we want in that grip is, can you repeat it shot after shot after shot? And then finally, on our roller guard, we do have the LTR, linear tunable roller. So this is another tuning feature that allows you to adjust the cables left or right. If you've got fletching contact, if you're trying to clean up a paper tear that set's just not working with, just another adjustment feature that allows you to move those cables left and right. Super simple. Lastly, one thing we wanted to tell you about is all the Elite bows. They do come with their Winner's Choice bowstrings. Great bowstrings. That's the bowstring company from the Outdoor Group, the parent company of Elite. So they've got aftermarket strings, if you will, because you can call up and just buy Winner's Choice bowstrings. That's what they're building for their bows. So good quality strings there from TOG. Now that's the rundown of what the features are with the Elite Victra. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up in a target configuration. I've got my Ultra 23s here, and we're going to see what this thing does. We'll go out here on the range, we'll paper tune it, see what that process is like. We'll get our cam timing. Hopefully it's a little bit out so I get to use the new micro splitters. And then we will do the speed test. Now I do have a 60-pound bow, so I'm not going to be able to imitate the speed rating up to 328 feet per second. That's going to be on a 70-pound bow. I have a 60-pound bow, so we'll have to go with that. And then we'll go outside and see how this thing performs. I'm eager to see how this straighter, more rigid riser, I'm eager to see what that feels like. Let's get to it. All right, now we're going to check the timing. Hopefully we get to use that micro splitter feature. All right, so they were slightly out of sync with my top cam hitting just before my bottom cam was. So in order to adjust, remember I would want to put the equivalent of twists into the top cam. So that's gonna have me tightening this micro splitter down here. It wasn't much out of tune, but it was just a little bit. But here's my lock. Just gonna loosen that. Then I got my stubby wrench, and so what I wanna do is I wanna make it tighter. So, it makes tiny little movements, and this is like the thickness of the line. So I basically made most of that line disappear. I don't know what that's the equivalent to in twists, but I know I wasn't much out of time. I think that might be enough. Let's check it out. Lock it back down. And check it again. All right, micro splitters worked simply to perfection. Now my cams are perfectly in sync. All right, we got her all built up there. Let's go out on the range and we'll do paper tune and then we'll get a speed check. All right, here we go. Paper tune, Elite Victra. Well, that's pretty good. I'm not changing anything on that. Yeah. First shot bullet hole. That's pretty good. I was kind of hoping we'd have to use set a little bit, but we didn't. If we did, simplified exact tuning, remember, easy fix, we could do it right here on the line. We don't have to do that. Now let's get our speed test. All right, speed test. Before we get to that, back to the tuning for a second, because folks have said before, commented before, said, you know, what did you do off camera? You got first hole, or first shot bullet hole. That was my first shot I took through paper. It was the second shot I took with the bow. I took a shot not through paper, just to take a shot with the bow, see what it was gonna feel like. That was my second shot I ever took with the bow. First shot through paper, and that's not, that is what should happen when the cams are timed, when my knock height is right. You know, I set it to have level knock height, and my center shot was set to 13/16. That's industry standard. When you do all those things, a first shot bullet hole, that happens a lot. That's not me. Our guys in the pro shop, they do that all the time. It's, you know, that's what should happen. Maybe you have to tweak it a little bit here and there, but that's actually not unusual to get a first shot bullet hole. So just wanted to explain that. But now, speed test. So remember, the speed rating is up to 328 feet per second with the standard or the smooth mods. That's what I have on here. However, that speed rating is going to be 30 inches, 70 pounds, and I have 30-inch draw I'm set at. I have a 350 grain arrow. Excuse me, back up. It's 70 pounds, 30-inch draw, 350 grain arrow. Have 350 grain arrow, have 30-inch draw. Our draw weight, this is a max 60-pound bow, so I'm not expecting to have 70, but I'll show you what the draw weight is, just to show you. $59.4 is my draw weight. So, those of you who are mathematicians out there, I am not, you can extrapolate it out. 59.4, 30-inch draw, 350 grain arrow. That's our parameters. $297.1. It's pretty good for a 59-pound bow, 350 grain arrow. You know, a lot of folks are going to shoot this 3D. In ASA world, if I were shooting open pro with a 350 grain arrow, I'd be maxed out. 290 feet per second speed limit with variance, I'm right at the max. So that's pretty good. You can do the math and figure what that would be at 70 pounds. All right, now I'm going to get this sighted in at 20, and then we're going to go outside to the 3D range. I got my 3D arrows here. Let's see what this thing can do as a target bow in the 3D range. All right, here we are outside with the Elite Victra on our 3D range. Of course, I got to jump right to 50 yards because that's just what I do. Touch right. A little low too. Still getting her dialed in. Ooh, that one's right in the middle. We got a nice wind out here too, so this is good. I can feel how this thing holds in the wind. Another 10. All right, so let's talk about the shooting experience. First off, we got this wind out here and it holds nice. I think if I shoot it more, this is a 36-inch bar, I'd probably come down to a 30. A little bit too much weight out front, but it's holding really nice in this wind. I'm guessing some of that has to do probably with this stiffness. You know, as we said, we're expecting this riser to be stiffer. It's more vertical. We got more trusses in here, more connections, more beams, less open space. Noise is hard for you folks to calculate on camera, but this thing is dead quiet. Not that we care, it's a target bow. You know, who cares what noise it makes? But it's still pretty cool when you hear one that's as quiet as this. No jumping. You know, I almost always shoot with a finger sling. Target bows tend to jump out of my hands. This one is not. I take the shot, it sits there. Draw cycle, typical Elite. It's just super smooth. That 90% let off there's a deep valley. This is one of those bows that feels like you gotta push forward to get it to go down. Honestly, the more I shoot this, I'm gonna back that let off down to probably 80%. I just like a little more holding weight. But even still at 90, a lot of times I have bows that will wander when I'm at full draw with that 90% let off. And this one's not doing that. It's staying where I am even in this wind. So, yeah, good shooting bow. We're gonna take a couple more shots. All right, pretty good group there. Had one just get away from me a little bit, but 3 of them stacked together in the 10 ring in this wind like that, open field. Yeah, just the Elite Victra. So the things that I'm noticing, again, in this wind, I have a 6X lens on there, 6 power lens. So I would expect to see a lot of movement, especially in this wind. I'm just not. It's holding nice and still where I want it. You know, wind still gonna push me around a little bit, but I'm just seeing that pin sit nice and steady. The draw cycle, super smooth. I can shoot that thing all day long, 59 pounds, 90% let off. It's just real nice shooting bow. And as I said, the after shot, nothing. It's just dead. Completely dead, doesn't jump. Not that, again, target bows, I don't mind when they jump forward. A lot of times that's good for feedback, but it's also nice when they just sit there too. And you don't have to worry about having to catch it before it jumps out of your hand when you don't have a finger sling. So, great bow from the folks at Elite. You know, we got that new timing feature, we got the new cam on there, new riser design. I think you're going to see this thing on the podiums a lot this year. All right, that is the Victra, brand new target bow from the folks at Elite. If you want to see all the different options and variations that we have in this bow, including all the colors, there's 2 new colors, be sure to click the link in the description below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. As always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at lancasterarchery.com.